All right, Shalom. Just another coming back with another live lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. Lord willing, this will be edifying. But before we start, just want to check obviously to see if this is up and running. Let's do a test. Start. Just want to check obviously to see if this is up and running. Let's do a test. Start. All right, it's running. Okay, that's good. All right, so first and foremost, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor to unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, that do teach well, that have taught me this truth. Kwam Yasha Allah and Abba Ball, and Shalawam to the hopeful elect. So the title of this lesson today is going to be called Secret Enemies, the Illuminati, right? And I was inspired to do this lesson off this article I found. It was interesting. It's not really telling you much, but it's just really thought provoking. And a lot of scriptures came to mind when I was reading it. So I just thought I'd share this once again. Um, so this is from RT.com, and this was posted back in October 5th, 2022. So just a couple weeks ago. And it says secret societies, harmless members only clubs, or dire threats to democracy. A curious feature of our modern times is the number of secret societies operating in our midst, setting the global agenda behind closed doors. And yes, secret societies do exist, and you can find it in the scriptures. So let me just share the screen here, right? And it does exist, right? Because the scriptures talk about it. When you go into Psalms 64th chapter, King David spoke about this. And the book of Genesis, it talks about the serpent, right? Being subtle. And that's what these secret societies are. They're very subtle, and their members, they're very subtle. Starting with the so-called white man, they're like serpents. They're like dragons, right? They work behind the scenes. They're very cunning, right? So let me just start. There you go. You got the pyramid going into their idols, their gods that they worship behind the scenes. So it says the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. It's very distasteful. Um, they don't really like hearing it. People don't want to believe it. It's true, right? It's very distasteful. They don't like it because they're conditioned to think that everything's open and free. So it says the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings, right? Which that's true to a certain degree, but that's for people who are ignorant, because the Lord, he does deal with secrets, right? Because the scripture says he revealeth his secrets to his servants, the prophets, right? So the Lord, he does deal with secrets. He does deal with hidden truths that people don't know about. And yes, there's two sides to secret societies. You have the secret societies on the left, and you have the secret societies on the right. So there's a secret society within this truth, right? You have the elect and the 144,000. That's the real Illuminati on the right hand side, and then on the left you have the wicked. That's that's these devils, man, right? These wicked rulers, these elites that work with the spiritual demon Satan, right? So it says here, long before the friction, writer Dan Brown arrived on the literary scene with his stories of esoterica. People have been intrigued with the idea of secret societies working in the shadows, carrying out evil plots against them. On this score, it would be hard to beat the Freemasons, right? Which that's another society. They're well known right now, and the reason why they're well known is because the Lord, he removed that covering cast, that veil that's over the eyes of the people, and now they're open to what's going on. And also the Lord, he had it where their own tongue would fall upon themselves. That's also found in Psalms 64 and 8, I believe. Now, let me get a precept because I spoke about the secret council. So this is Psalms chapter 64, And the subtitle of the chapter is Prayer for Deliverance from Secret Enemies. And that's right, we have secret enemies. And we know it in Psalms 83, but within Psalms 83, there's an elite within all those nations, and they're conspiring against us. So we do have secret enemies that are out here that are trying to take away our liberty, which is us knowing our power and our heritage, right? Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, this truth. They don't want us to know that. So now it says, Psalms chapter 64, verse 1, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O power, and my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemies. That's right. So, if you want to preserve your life, you got to call upon Yahweh Bashem Yoshai and follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability and have faith. Because the scriptures, man, and following the law, statutes, and commandments, those things will prolong your days, right? Because you're serving Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. And we do have a lot of enemies, and King David knew that. He had enemies that were on the outside, which came in the form of different nations, and you also had enemies on the inside. You had people that were trying to usurp him and take him down, right? Even people of his own household, right? There were secret enemies, people who were plotting against him, enemies of the church, enemies of the congregation, enemies of the state. He had to worry about these things because he was in a high position, right? And it's very lonely when you're at the top. So, but you're not alone because you have Yahweh Bashem Yoshai and the angels, right? That's if you fear them. So verse 2, it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. That's right. And, insurrection of the workers of iniquity, because they're working iniquity out here, man, always trying to keep you in the condition without having the law, keeping you in that wicked state. And they come in different names, the skull and bones. When you're a member, they call you a bonesman, right? And they call you a bonesman because they want to keep you as a dry bone, right? So those are the workers of iniquity too, right? So it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. That's right, hide. Why? Because the Lord is a strong tower. He is a strong tower. Also pursuing to Psalms 124, he protects us from the flood, from the teeth of the wicked. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. That's right. And, it starts with words. It starts with propaganda. It starts with, you know, the spread of lies, disinformation to keep people in a confused state, right? And we know that these devils, they're set up to deceive, right? To lie. And in my previous videos, and also up Elder Apostle Gabar, he says this, in order for you to tell a lie, you got to know the truth, right? And that's true. So they're spreading lies about you, about your power, about who you really are. And that's to keep you in a low estate, right? So it says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, and the tongue is very, very powerful. The tongue is very powerful. It's a little member, but it packs a punch. The scripture says that, briefly paraphrasing, right? And also there's another term, the pen is mightier than the sword. That's another way that they spread words and disinformation. It's through their policies that they have set up, right? So it says, verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? That's right. So they're doing things in the secret, in behind the scenes, laying snares, laying traps to entrap you. And they're saying, who will see me? Because they're hidden in plain sight. Right. And they do things in secrecy. So let's go back here. It says, here is a group of characters that has piqued the imaginations of men throughout the centuries. Back in 1798, John Robinson, a professor of natural philosophy and secretary to the Royal Society of Edinburgh, published a book that made a big splash throughout Europe. The publication carried the lengthy title, Proofs of a Conspiracy Against All Religions and Governments of Europe. carried on in the secret meetings of Freemasons, Illuminati, and reading societies. Had John Robinson attempted to publish such a book in our day, he would have been quickly written off as a conspiracy theorist, nut job, along the lines of Alex Jones. But in 1798, the book was taken quite seriously. Now, let's look at the word conspiracy, right? Let's see, let's get the etymology of it, right? Um, right. So it says a plotting of evil, unlawful design, combination of purpose of persons of an evil purpose, conspiracy plot, agreement, union, unanimity, to breathe together, right? And that's the point. Conspiracy means to breathe, right? So there is a breath that's being taken out here, right? The breath of an evil plot. But that's ultimately what conspiracy means when you get down to breathe on. And in a sense, this truth can be a conspiracy onto the people if you don't understand it. And the reason why I'm saying that is I'm relating it to Genesis chapter 2 and 7, when the Lord he breathed upon Adam and made him a living soul, right? He gave him the breath, he gave him the knowledge, right? So there the conspiracies out here, you know, some of them are true, right? Some of them are true, right? That's the real breath, right? But the way you decipher through those things is when you go into the scriptures and you look at it and you break it down, right? So, anyways, I just thought I'd say that. But really, the word conspiracy means to breathe together, right? It just really means to breathe together. So it says theorist nut job along the lines of Alex Jones, but in 1798 the book was taken quite seriously. And why was it taken quite seriously? Because things started to come to pass. Habakkuk chapter 2 and 3, the vision is yet for an appointed time. And prophets, they're set up to say things before it happens. And the reason why they say things before it happens is because they have the breath of life in them, right? They have the knowledge, right? So at the time when they say it, it's not going to sound right. But when later down the road, when things start happening, then that's when people take things seriously. It also reminds you of the precept or the scripture, our people will be willing in the day of thy power. When things start happening, then that's when people will start to believe it. But people won't believe it when things aren't happening. And that's due to a lack of faith, right? So yeah, to believe in a conspiracy, you got to have faith, right? You got to have some type of faith. And that's why in the beginning of the article it said the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are as a people inherently and historically opposed to secret societies. And that's really because a lot of people, they don't understand, or they don't have faith, right? They don't have faith because they can't see it, right? And just because things are secret doesn't mean it's not true, right? So that's why a lot of people, they're really repugnant in a free and open society, right? They're it's really due to them, one, not having faith, and them not knowing the secrets and having the eye salve, right? But the Lord, he has always dealt with secrets, right? He's always dealt with secrets, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And there's two sides to it. Now let me get a precept. Let me get something here. Let's get because we're going into the Illuminati, right, and secret societies, right? So let's go into Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? And that heaven is that state of rulership. And real soon we're going to see the elites fall. And this is the Illuminati that's talking about. This is the Lucifer, right? And that word Lucifer means to be enlightened, right? Really the light bearers. And they have the light, and which turns into the secrets. A part of you having the light is the secrets. Now, let me get something, because I stated that the Lord, he deals with secrets. I don't want to throw anybody off. Let's get reveal. I think it's reveal his secrets. I think that's what it is. Let's see. I think that's what it is. hold on. Onto the prophets. Secrets. I think it's his secrets. Servants, the prophets. I think. I think I'm mixing it up, but I think it's mysteries. Forgot. Um, okay, these are good ones. Okay. Okay, these are good ones too, but that's not the one I was looking for. Maybe it'll come back to me later. But it says Matthew chapter 13, verse 11. It says, He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Right? For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Right? So, the secrets and the mysteries are given to those who are pretty much a part of the elect, right? Those are the servants of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, right? So the Lord, He does deal with mysteries, He does deals with secrets, He does deal with hidden things, but they're only given to a specific set of people, right? And that really goes into the prophets. I wanted that precept though. I just forgot it. Like it just slipped my mind all of a sudden. Uh, Secrets. Let's see. See if I can find it. Hmm. 1 second. Hmm. Bear with me. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on, let me just see if I can type it in Google. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. That's what I wanted. Salakia, guys. Amos 3. I think that's what it is. There we go. I just didn't say it right. My bad. So it says, this is Amos chapter 3 and 7. Surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret. See, that's what I was doing. I added secrets. I just sort of put secret. So secret unto his servants, the prophets, right? So the Lord, he deals with secrets, but the ones who are revealed or who understand those secrets are really the servants, the prophets. So there are prophets that are out here to know, that are set up to know um, secret things. And sometimes the prophets, they can't reveal everything they see, right? So the Lord, yeah, he has a secret counsel, and it starts with Yahweh Shai and his prophets, right? So they are the Illuminati. It starts with the prophets, right? It starts with the prophets because they're able to prophesy, which means to say things before it happens. So in order for you to say things before it happens means that you have secrets, right? You have secrets, and that's the ability to tell the future, right? And we know the future. We know what's going to happen. So I just wanted to bring that out, just to clear that up. Now, let's go into this. Let's move down a little. So it says, aside from the question of whether Robinson's was correct in his accusation in an equally important one. If the Freemasons are really up to no good, are they continuing with their shenanigans today? A lot of people believe they are, and many are speaking out with revelations of various levels of validity. Many are dismissed as conspiracy theorists, which in turn reinforce the belief of many others in the secret society's willingness to throttle the truth. Former singer-songwriter and winner of the X Factor Australia, Altian Childs, for example, shared a 5-hour video where he proclaims that nearly every Western institution has been infiltrated by the Freemasons to the point where it is nearly impossible to rise to high office, from the world of entertainment to politics and everything in between, without the silent nod of this international fraternity. That video has been viewed nearly 4 million times. And that's why I brought out Lucifer here, and I brought out also Psalm 64, Secret Counsel. But I'm going to read this one more time. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And that's what they do. You know, they set up people in high positions in society, just like what it said here. I'll read it again, right? It says from the world of entertainment to politics and everything in between, right? So that goes into business, it goes into healthcare, right? It goes into law, right? Making policies and legislations. They have their people in there, right? And they're making the nations weak. They're making the world weak, bringing forth that agenda, right? So that's why I read it. But there's going to come a time where they're going to fall from that position, and that talks about how art thou fallen from heaven, which is that state of rulership. We're coming into a time where they're going to fall out of rulership, which didst weaken the nations. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I'll exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, which, they did to a certain degree. They're really just nesting, with their space programs, right? But that's what they're saying in their heart. And for someone to say that, it means they have knowledge. They have hidden knowledge. And let's get the word Lucifer here. Uh, right? Lucifer equals light bearer, shining one, morning star of the king of Babylon, and Satan, figuratively, right? And that's where they get their light from the spiritual demon Satan. So they do have knowledge on the left-hand side. And that's why their heart is exalted and puffed up. Because to a certain degree, they can see things and say things before it does happen, right? That's why when I read on down, Klaus Schwab, he goes on to say, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. And that's talking about the future and what's going to play out. Because how? He's getting his insight on the left-hand side. And you saw it in the beginning. These are the idols they worship, which goes back to Satan worship, the all-seeing eye, which goes into enlightenment, right? So that's what they're doing. So the scriptures is on point. So for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. And they want complete control. And that's them bringing in this system, that new system, to bring complete control, which is the MOTB, right? Branding you, putting the charagma on you, branding you, making you livestock, making you commodity, making you a servant. All right, so that's all I want from there. So let's go back. It says, while it may be easy to laugh off such outlandish claims based on the Illuminati and other such groups, there are other societies that make no secret about their secrecy and have a much more tangible claim to the controlling world. And they're going into the World Economic Forum. That's what they're going to go into now, because they're out in the open and they're telling you about their schemes, right? So, but a lot of people, but they put a fancy title on it, and the average person, oh, I'm getting a call here. I didn't really want to. Nah, man, I'm not going to take that, man. Are you serious? They just called me now? Like, whatever, man. Let them leave a message. I really wanted to do that, but oh well. So they're talking about the World Economic Forum, the WEF, and a lot of those people there are part of the club. But because of that name that they have, a lot of people they don't really know that. Talking about the average person, they don't really know that, right? So they're hidden in plain sight. So it says, if there were a reigning king of secret societies today, the title would undoubtedly go to the World Economic Forum, founded in 1971 by the German engineer and economist Klaus Schwab, the foundation which brings together the top 1,000 most powerful corporations in the world, views its mission as improving the state of the world by engaging business, political, academic, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. Democratic procedure doesn't seem to have a place in this formula. Um, yeah. So that goes into, let's see if I can go back to Psalm 64. Right. So it says, Psalm 64 and 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Right. So, like I said, they're open and they're hidden in plain sight, and they just put fancy titles on these names, but they're really actually doing things in plain sight, right? And it's to the point where a lot of like they've put out so much information trying to make it seem like they're not controlling the world, but they really are, right? And that's why it says, who shall see. Let me just get it. Sorry about that. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? And that's what it's gotten to. It's like they're in plain sight, right? They're in plain sight, and they just change around the titles of what they're doing and changing it. So it says, verse 6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. And they're very far reaching. Why? Because their inward thoughts is that their houses shall continue forever, pursuant to Psalms 49 and 11. But the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow suddenly, shall they be wounded. And that goes into the missiles. Ultimately, then they are going to be wounded, because it talks about their enterprise that they set up in Job in 20, when he's about to fill up his belly, his ambitions. The Lord is going to take that down, right? As a matter of fact, let me prove that. Uh, so Job 5 and 12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise, which is going into their ambitions that they have, which is their new world order plans. The Lord is going to take them down. He's going to shoot that arrow when he's about to fill his belly. The Lord's going to cause that iron weapon to fall upon him, which is the ICBM nuclear missiles, to destroy him. So they have their plans, but it's gonna prosper a little bit, but then the Lord's gonna intervene and take them down. Right. So let me just close some of these tabs though. All right. So let's go to the article here. So it says, as the author of social critic Nick Buxton described the annual confab held in the mountains of Davos, Switzerland, this unaccountable invitation only gathering is increasingly where global decisions are being taken and moreover is becoming the default from a form of global governance. Schwab has gone on record as saying that the sovereign state has become obsolete and that in order to fill the power void, there needs to be a global issue alliance, apparently with himself at the helm. Not only does Davos serve as an elitist cocktail party for improving the state of the world, far from the prying eyes of humanity, it also works to penetrate governments around the world with their self-taught protege. Distracting me, man. Sorry about that, man. Call him back later, man. All right. So now, since I just read that, I'm gonna just read. Well, not read, but I'm gonna just play this video showing you what this guy is saying, and it's very important because a lot of it goes over the heads of a lot of people. So hold on, let me just play it.
And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin, and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of, Argentina, and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World
Right.
Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina now, too. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he's dealing with the younger generation to penetrate governments, and he mentioned Trudeau and other leaders that are kind of up and coming, and he said they're going to penetrate their cabinets. So he has put his own people in there to penetrate government. And he's telling you this out in the open, flat out, right? So he's telling you, the World Economic Forum has a big hand in controlling a lot of these governments, right? So that's what he said in a nutshell. That's why he has the quote here. They put it right here. What we are really proud of now is a young generation like Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Schwab boasted back in 2017, who make it possible for us to penetrate the cabinets of governments around the world, right? So that goes into the leadership. So they put their own people in there to control it, right? So that's why. So they're actually they're actually ruling behind the scenes, right? They're ruling behind the scenes. So let's see, and that goes back to his subtlety, man, and his beguiling words. How he enticed Eve because he's a serpent, and this guy right here, he's a dragon. He's a serpent. He's a serpent. And he's telling you what he did. But a lot of people don't care, because of how he looks. He comes up, he's in a suit and tie. His face is nice and shaved. He has glasses. He looks old, so people don't think he's he's actually a threat, but he's really a threat. So that's that subtlety, man. That's that cunningness. Now let's get a precept. Actually, that's a good one, but let me get something else. This is Second Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Hamashiach Yahushai, right? So I really just want to bring out that serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety. And you can go and read the account of that in Genesis, the third chapter, I believe, going into how she pretty much charmed Eve, or he pretty much charmed Eve into being a heathen, man, to go into the philosophies of the other nations. And he was very subtle. What does subtle mean? So it says subtle, penetrating, ingenious, refined, sophisticated, intricate, obtruse, adept, adroit, cunning, wise, detailed, well crafted, fine, thin, delicate, finely woven, figuratively, precise, exact, accurate, fine, keen, and that's the sight of a dragon. They have keen sight. They're very keen and they're very cruel, right? So this guy, he's very calculative. And I don't know, man. It's just I find the wording is all falling together because it says here is Klaus Schwab in 2017 discussing how the WEF have penetrated governments, right? And that's that subtlety, man. And we just read it. That's one of the words, penetrating. So this guy, fuck, man, what's he calling me for, man? They ain't gonna give up, man. All right. Let me just Salaki, man. Let me just do something here real quick. Just demons, man. turn my phone off. All right. So yeah, penetrating. So that's this devil's MO. He's very subtle. Very subtle. And that's what you saw in the video. So let's go back. So your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Yahushai. And ultimately, man, this guy, he wants to take you away from Yahweh Shem Yahushai with these plans that he has set up by beguiling you into believing in lies, right? Because he is set up to deceive, going into Revelation chapter 20 and 7, right? He was given a certain amount of time to deceive the whole world. And, through his deception, how did he bring forth deception? Through subtlety, being wise, propaganda, the media. I believe when you look up the word media here, see if we could find that. I know that goes back to a goddess, Medea. I know it goes back to a goddess. I remember reading it, right? Um, but yeah, that's what he uses his media to actually corrupt you, to brainwash you. That's all subtle. So now let's go into see what we got. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. And that's what he's transforming himself into. He's really a dirty person, but he's transforming himself into an angel of light, a messenger of light, right? So he's making himself look good. Like he's saying things in a way to make it seem like it's good for you. So bringing forth the MOTB, the WEF, what did they say? They said recently that digital cash is going to bring society into new equilibriums. That's him transforming himself into an angel of light, making things appear good when it's really not. And the scripture says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil." Right. So that's his MO. That's what he's trying to do. He's making himself look good. He's presenting the MOTB as something that's going to be good for you. But really, when you take the MOTB, that's to your own detriment. So verse 15, therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. And that goes on down from the spiritual demon Satan to the people that he's working with to his ministers. They're all making themselves look like they're righteous, but they're really not. And like I said, they always dress up in a suit and tie. You know, they look old and frail, smooth faced. They use nice words and they use that nice soft speech, right? So that's how these people are working game out here on you, on your minds. So it says the Davos leader then provided an example, saying he had attended a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I saw that half of his cabinet or even more are from the Young Global Leaders program of the World Economic Forum. So that goes into his ministers. They're all down with the game. They're all down with the game, and they're not righteous, man, even though they appear to be. So we just read it, man. We just read it. They're a part of the WEF. And who runs the WEF? Klaus Schwab. He founded it, right? So-called. And the people that are a part of it, his ministers, they're pretending to be righteous. They're pretending to be they're pretending to do things for you, to work on your behalf, but they're not really working on your behalf. And honestly, that's how politics is. Politics is pretty much having somebody. It's really about people thinking that it's really tricking people into thinking that you're working for them, but you're really not. That's all politics really is. And I've questioned politicians before. I have. And when I ask them certain questions, they never answer the questions that are really important. I have. I've met some politicians. I asked them serious questions and they never answer the question. That's how real politicians operate. That's how they operate, making you think that they're working for you, but they're not. So, just like what we read here, those are those ministers. Therefore, it is no great things if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. And they know, and you know, the end of their works is going to be death and slavery, right? Because that's where they're headed. All right. So, that's what I wanted. Let's see what we got. Now, it goes down into the skull and bones here. It goes into the skull and bones because that's another society. So it says in a non-description building for a full view of this structure, which is dubbed in the tomb, and for good reason, check out the video on the campus of Yale University, is the home of Skull and Bones. And I believe the elders and apostles already brought this information out, but I believe some of their videos were just deleted, so you can't see it no more for some reason, YouTube. But they go into this. A secretive fraternity that first appeared on the scene in 1832. Women were not granted membership into the Skull and Bones until 1992. Skull and Bones, which is also known as the Order 322, or the Brotherhood of Death, is notoriously selective in determining who can become a so-called bonesman. And keep that in mind, a bonesman. And this should make you think about Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, right? Because this is the valley of dry bones. And pretty much, if you're a dry bone, you're pretty much dead in the spirit. You're pretty much a part of the congregation of the dead. So these people, these orders that they set up, they're really set up to keep you dead. They're really just set up to keep you dry, right? So these bonesmen that are members of these societies, they're really set up to keep a veil over you, so you don't understand anything. So now, how do you fight that? You fight that, or how do you how do you fight a bonesman? The Lord, he set up prophets, right? That's why Ezekiel, when you read it, it says you have to wake up the dry bones by prophesying onto them. So that's why I said in the beginning, there's two sides to the Illuminati. You got Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's Illuminati, and then you have the Illuminati on the left, and they're battling each other with information. So the prophets, they're set up to wake up the people, and these bonesmen on the left, they're set up to keep the people down, to keep them asleep. So it says the society selects new members among students every spring as a part of its so-called tap day, when just 15 seniors are invited. Now, since I said that, let's get Ezekiel 37 just to prove it. 37. Vision of the valley of dry bones, right? So it says, the hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of Yahweh and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, right? And that valley is talking about America, which Ezekiel is seeing. And caused me to pass by them round about, and behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. That's right, they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the understanding. And that's the state of the majority of pretty much people in America, the Western world, and our people. Pretty much, they're dry, 2/3 to be exact. They're very dry, they lack knowledge. And a part of them being dry is really these people who are set up. They keep you in a dumb state through your media, through television, through social engineering, keep you down, keep you dumbed down, put bad stuff in your food so you can't think right, right? Put fluoride in your water, all types of stuff. There's a lot of information out there on what they do. So now you have the prophets that are set up to wake you up. So it says, and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord power, thou knowest. And that's right, because sometimes, I'm just speculating because I'm just trying to envision on how he's seeing it. Because how he's looking at them is that they're in a dead state. They don't really know who they are. And it's like, wow, can these people really wake up out of this slumber? Right? So that's why he said, and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord power, thou knowest. And that's the answer you got to give, because I don't really know. Can you really know that? I don't know, man. That's it's gonna take a miracle to wake these people up. But guess what? The power of all powers, he can do it. Anyways, that's just me. So it says, again, he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Why? Right? So hear the word of Yahweh. So really, he set up to give you this truth, and this truth wakes you up. Right? So let's go into Genesis 2, 2 and 7. Genesis chapter 2 and 7. And the Lord Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. That's right, that breath of life, that breath, that inspiration, which comes in the form of a conspiracy, right? Just joking. But yeah, so this truth, it makes you live. And that's what Ezekiel did. He came, he spoke the word onto them, he told them who they are in the spirit, gave them prophecy, showed them some mysteries, and now they're going to wake up, right? So verse 5, thus saith the Lord power unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. That backs up. This backs that up, right? The word of the Lord does that inspiration, the knowledge. And this is what happened to Adam. That's why he got wisdom. That's why he was more beautiful and pleasant to look at, and he was better than all the trees in the garden because of the knowledge. He was alive. And that's what this truth does. It makes you alive. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Right? So that's very powerful, because now he's going to give you the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. He's going to give you your identity back. He's going to give you them garments to cover you up, and you're going to now you can serve the Lord to the fullest, because you have the secrets, you have the knowledge. But like I said, who's waking up the people? Whose job is that? Ultimately, it's Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, but it's done physically by the prophets going out there and giving you this word. So we're set up to combat these bonesmen with what we're doing. That's the prophet's job. Lord willing, I be a part of that. Lord willing, you know. And this should also tell you that the Lord, he's a power of the living. He's not the power of the dead. Because why would you put bones as a title? The brotherhood of death, right? Skull and bones, brotherhood of death. So these guys are serving the spiritual demon Satan, and these demons and these devils, they deal with death. Now let me get a precept. He is a God of the living. I had it pulled up. Yeah, Mark chapter 12, verse 27. He is not the power of the dead, but the power of the living. Ye therefore do err greatly. All right, so he is the power of the living. He's not the power of the dead. So that's why when we go out there and we speak this word, people come to life, because our Lord, he's a power of life. Now, these people, when they go out there and they speak, they put people to death. That's literal and spiritual. And that's why they're called the brotherhood of death. That's why they're called the skull and bones, because that's the power and the spirit they're coming in. So the society selects new members among students every spring as a part of its so-called tap day, when just 15 seniors are invited. And you notice it said the spring because the spring is really when the new year comes in, and that's when they select new members. So these guys, they go with the seasons, and it shows that they have order. They have order, right? And just like when you bring in the Passover, or when our Lord was born, he wasn't born in the winter. He was born in the new year, in the spring. So I'm just saying that to show you like how they follow order, just like how we follow order, right? On what brings in the new year. Anyway, I'm just saying that. So, despite its intense exclusivity, many members have ascended after graduation to positions of prominence in the world of intelligence, business, and government. Three of them, William Howard Taft, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, went on to become U.S. presidents. This was the cause of an awkward moment in the 2004 United States presidential election between George W. Bush and John Kerry, both members of Skull and Bones. The late night NBC journalist Tim Russert confronted both men as to their memberships in the organization and what that means for America. Bush just chuckled and said, "It's so secret we can't talk about it." Kerry responded almost the same, saying he could not speak about his membership because it's a secret. And with that, the American people were forced to choose between two men from opposite sides of the particular spectrum who shared secrets the voter who would never know about. I believe that goes into Spake Like a Lamb. Right. Uh, yeah, so Revelation chapter 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that's that two-party system that they set up, right? Right. And he spake like a lamb, those smooth words, right? And they set up I believe that goes into, what is it, the plebeians and the patricians, which comes in the form of the Republicans and what? The Democrats. So they set up these two parties, and they make them seem like they're going head to head, but they're all a part of the same thing, right? They're a part of this, they're a part of the same fraternity, right? So they make it seem like they're working against each other, but they're really working together. Right. And it says, like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? So he was very cruel, very cunning, but he looked like a lamb, right? He looked like a lamb. He looked very palatable. He looked very soft, right? He didn't look harmful. He looks harmless, basically, but he spake like a dragon, which comes to his policy. And that's why they're able to say things like this. Bush just chuckled and said, "It's so secret we can't talk about it." That's not good. That's speaking like a dragon. That's that double tongue. It's so secret we can't talk about it. So why do we want to put you in office then? You know, you're a part of a nefarious group. People know it. So if you're saying things like that, why should we trust you? Why should we vote for you? That's that dragon speak, man. Dragon talk. That's very dangerous, man. And a lot of people think George Bush is an idiot, right? Which he's kind of stupid. He says a lot of stupid shit. But remember, he's a part of that. You can't, you're not an ordinary person when you join Skull and Bones. Right? So he's not completely stupid. He's illuminated. And that's why he's able to say things like this and get away with it. But anyways, man, people don't care. People just don't give a shit. But it is what it is, my friend. All right. So, um, Yeah, man. Yeah, anyway, that's all I want from there. Let's move back to what it's saying. Um, where was I? Okay. And it says, and with that, the American people were forced to choose between two men from opposite sides of the particular spectrum who shared secrets the voter would never know about. Yep. And there's just some secrets that regular people aren't supposed to know. And that's okay, right? I'm going to just say it like it is. Not everybody, not everybody's built to handle the truth or to handle secrets. There's nothing wrong with that. So now let's go into the Illuminati on the right. So this is Baruch chapter 4 and 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Turn thee, O Jacob, Yaiquab, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. So, in order for you to be illuminated, Yaiquab, on the right hand side, you got to walk in the presence of the light, which is the scriptures, the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, following the law, statutes, and commandments. So that's the Illuminati that it's talking about. You Israelites, starting with the prophets on down and the elect, you're the Illuminati, right? You're an illuminary when you come into this truth and when you know the word. And there's levels to this thing, all right? Because just because you know scriptures doesn't mean you have all the answers too. The Lord, he deals with major prophets and he also deals with minor prophets as well, right? And certain prophets, they get more insights than other prophets, right? Just like Paul, you know, he saw things in the spirit realm that he can't really tell you. He had to keep that to himself, right? So when you get on a higher level, more things are revealed onto you. And the average Israelite cannot handle those secrets. It'll probably cause people to bug out. So hiding secrets, you know, it's a good thing too. It's a good thing. The Lord is only going to reveal what he wants to reveal onto you. And that's really for your safety, right? So, and that's just how government works too. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Let's go to Luke chapter 11 and 33. No man, when he hath lighteth a candle, putteth it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they which come in may see the light. And you know, the candles really represent you brothers, man, and you churches that are out there, right? Which, you know, the churches are composed of brothers, obviously, because it says in the midst of the seven candlesticks, right? Who, you know, which that's Yahweh Shai, he's in the midst of the churches, right? So the candles are the churches and the brothers as well, right? The brothers that are in the faith. And Yahweh Shai, he lights your candle. And if you get that candle, which is that knowledge, and if it's lit, you shouldn't be hiding it. You should be going out there and pushing the truth, right? So yeah, you're illuminated when Yahweh Shai is dealing with you, man, and he's the one that lights your candle up. Okay. Now let's get Luke 12 and 35. 35. It says, "Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning." And you know, if your loins are girded in this truth, it means you're protected with this truth as well. You know, so um, you know, with this truth, it comes protection. Right? Those that fear Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, the angels encampeth around about. And you know, these people, they're girded on the left hand side. They're protected. You know, they do a lot of evil shit. A lot of people know about them being evil, but they can go out in the public and just walk around and people won't do anything to them. And that's because they got them demonic angels about round about them, protecting them. So when you come into this truth, when your loins are girded, you're gonna be protected by them angels, when you go places. Just saying that. Just saying. Just saying. Now it says here, yeah, and it says, and your light's burning, and really, your light burning is really your spirit on fire for this truth. Okay, you got to be on fire for this thing. You got to be on fire. All right, so let me go. You got to be on fire, and you got to be spiritual. You got to be spiritual. So that's what I wanted from there. Let's see what else we got. I already read that. Um, that's not what I want. I don't want that. Okay. Pretty much covered everything. Pretty much got what I wanted. So, I pretty much just spoke briefly on who the Illuminati is on the left and who they are on the right. So you have an idea. And earlier I brought out the precept in Amos. I believe that was 3 and 7, about how he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. So the prophets, on down, going into the elect, they have the secrets. They're illuminated, and we have secret enemies out here, going into Psalms 83, going into the secret council of the wicked, what Psalms 64 spoke of. Um, so, it is what it is, man. Now you kind of have an idea what the Illuminati is about. And it goes into you being enlightened and having insight into things and seeing things play out before it happens. So there's two sides to that, and there's a righteous side and there's a wicked side. So, I hope this was edifying, right? Oh, and I have an article here, but I'm not going to read it, but it says millions of Canadians believe in conspiracy theories survey. And it says over 1/3 of those polled believe that shadowy elites are seeking to replace natives with immigrants. And the Lord, He removed that veil, and a lot of people are awoken to what's going on. That's the average person, because the information of the Illuminati is out there. It's mainstream now. And the reason why I say that is because I'm reading the media, mainstream media, and they're bringing it out. And that also goes into Psalm 64 and 8 on how, let me just get it. So it says, Psalm 64 and 8, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, right? And their own tongue is really going into their own people, exposing them. You have a lot of insiders that are coming out. You got a lot of so-called truthers that are leaking out little tidbits of information. And this information that they're giving you, it's not necessarily deep. It's not really exposing a whole lot, but it's thought provoking, and it's making you more aware of who's in charge, right? So that's their own tongue. You got a lot of whistleblowers out here, Julian Assange. You got that whole Snowden guy. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't really followed up with that. But there are a lot of people out there exposing the government, ex-CIA, ex-military, telling you about things that have been done, things that have been very like that are talking about things how they took away your rights, right? So that's what that's going into. Um, what else? Yeah, man. What's that veil? Let's see if I think I pulled that veil up. Hold on. Uh, Here we go. So this is Isaiah chapter 25 and 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people and the veil that is spread over all nations. That's right. That goes into the lies and the deceits. So the Lord, He's going to remove that covering cast over all the people. He's going to remove all the lies, the deception. And you have people out there waking up. And that's why you see articles like these Millions of Canadians believe in conspiracy theories. Survey. A lot of people are waking up. They may not have the full truth, but they know what's going on. They know that there's an unseen hand ruling behind the scenes. And who's responsible for that? Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. And people, they're in for a rude awakening, man, because they're about to find out that the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is in control, and that Yahweh Shai is going to establish his kingdom on this earth and take down all their beliefs that they had. A lot of these people, man, they're starting to realize that they're going to go into slavery. They're realizing that they're really not that special as well. Because what does it say? They inherited lies. I'm supposed to close up, but I don't know. I guess I'm still going, whatever. So this is Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. And, some of these conspiracy theories, um, they cause these people to realize that they inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Because what's a big conspiracy that's out here? One big major conspiracy is who the real people of the Lord are, the 12 tribes of Israel. That's a conspiracy within itself. A lot of people still to this day have a problem accepting that, right? So that's an inherited lie throughout the generations, throughout the times since this devil was set up, beginning in the Renaissance period, 1492, going into the time of Caesar Borgia, Christopher Colon, or Columbus, whatever you want to call him, right? Rodrigo Borgia, the papacy, right? These devils coming into power. From that time, these people have started to inherit lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. And that's why I spoke of the conspiracy of our people not actually being the people, because that's out there. Who are the true 12 tribes? Who are the real sons of Jacob? Who are the sons of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim El Shai? And that lie has been pushed out there, you know. So that's a conspiracy within itself. So, anyways, I hope that made sense. You know me, I ramble. So with that, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Kwam Yasha Allah and Abba Ball. Shalom.